Good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Judy Butler, and we're going to be going over how to complete your PDSA form, both the first form and the subsequent forms after that. So you have done your gap analysis, you have done your fishbone diagram and your patient tracer. You've gathered your information and looked at what are the gaps in evidence-based practice and your practice. And what we're going to do is show you how to start this form, how to start your thinking and really organize your tweaking and your changes that you're going to make over the next 4 cycles. So what I've done is I've pulled up the PDSA form and the form that we've written on. I've also pulled up the DMP Project Rapid Cycle PDSA RAMPS form. We're going to be sending you both of these that will help you to organize your thinking and organize how you're going to fill this out and do your project. So initially what I'd like you to do is I would like you to, step 1, what it says down here, skip this first part and just start at step 1. I want you to title your project, your name, your credentials, your sponsor, your health system, and that is the name of your clinic. Each cycle 1, 2, 3, and 4, everyone will complete 4 cycles. Each cycle will start on the Monday of week 2, 4, 6, and 8, and end on the following Friday, which is week 3, 5, 7, and 9 of the term. So you can just put those dates in, you can write them on your calendar, so you're always going to be organized, know when you're starting and when you're finishing up each cycle. You're going to skip this section here on objectives and go right down here, keep going all the way down here to step 2. Data collection plan. So what you need to know about this form is it is both prospective, current, and retrospective. Right now we're thinking prospectively. What is the plan? Up to this point, you've all completed your charter. You all have a plan. You also have measures that take into account the team education and building, the patient engagement and process, and usually several process changes. And what you can see is we have labeled these as 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D. If you look at my cursor, you can see that in cycle 1, which is where you're going to start, everyone will have some sort of staff education and team, some sort of patient experience of care, and then your multiple process changes. This other ramp we label as data-driven changes. You don't know what that's going to be yet. That's going to be as you're starting cycle 1 and your front desk person who was very important to your project gets fired or leaves, has a baby, whatever, and you now have to change your whole cycle. So this is going to be for your changes that come up as you go along, because there will be changes that are entire different things that you will be categorizing and measuring. So we've labeled them 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D, and you can see that's how we've done it here. We've also listed 1A, 1C, 1D here, so that each week you're going to fill out this form and just briefly, what was your staff education or team component? What was your patient tracer? What was your process changes? And label those so you can follow them along. You're also going to operationalize them, which you've already done. So every measure, whether it's an outcome measure, a process measure, or a balancing measure, is operationalized. And that's every one of those is going to have a run chart. So let me say that one more time. Every measure, your outcome measure, your process measure, and your balancing measure will all be operationalized and will all have a run chart. Measurement intervals are every 3 to 4 days. You can do this once a week. You can say, I'm going to look at Monday's charts, Wednesday's charts, and Fridays, but I'm going to do it all on Friday. That's okay, but you need to be looking at least a couple times a week because you need at least 3 data points for every PDSA cycle. So that's going to show you right away for my major process measures. If I only see 1 patient or 2 patients of this type of diabetes, gestational diabetes, for example, I know that I don't have enough data. I'm not going to have enough patients in my project to make this work, and I'm going to have to expand it a little more. If you have 30 patients a day that all qualify for your project, that's where you're going to take a sampling. I'm going to look at 10 charts on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So this is prospective. This is going to just carry on for each one. Then you're going to go down here from step 2. You are going to go to step 3, which is your plan. So each test of change, so each tweak, whatever you want to call this, your adaptation, your testing, your test of change, your tweaking, each one, this is going to be The first one, what change will you test? You're going to list one in each of those. Who's going to perform each of those? Where is it going to be taken? When will the test take place? So for example, for your team building, you may start out on, you have staff meetings every Wednesday. So your test, what change will you test? You're going to have an in-service on the new guideline, the new form, the new toolkit, whatever you're going to be using. Where is it? Who's going to perform it? You're probably going to perform that in-service. Where is it going to take place? In the staff education room. And when's it going to take place? On Wednesdays of this, for this cycle, it's going to be this Wednesday on whatever the date is. So you're going to do that for each of your areas here that you're looking at. So if we look at cycle 1, which is where you're planning for, each of these PDSAs has one of these components at least. All right, so that's step 3. Predictions. This is in this particular cycle, so not your overall outcome, but in this particular cycle, I anticipate that, or I predict that my staff is going to score 80% on their post-test. Everyone's, that 9 out of 10 people are going to get a 80% on their post-test for my in-service, or that I'm going to get 7 out of 10 people are going to come to this in-service. Whatever your prediction is, you want to be thoughtful about these. You don't want to predict that the life is going to be wonderful. These are thoughtful predictions that are going to help you anticipate the barriers that might come up, so that if true enough you get to Wednesday's staff meeting and 3 people show up because 2 are too busy, new patients got scheduled, somebody had to be at the hospital, you're going to have a plan for how you're going to attack that. So it's prediction so that you can start to move ahead and be ready for that. Okay, so we have done step 1 here. We've done step 2 and step 3. And now we're going to go down here to step 4, which she didn't label, which is the do. So you've planned, you've started all your planning. This is where you're going to start. This is the current section. That was prospective, this is current. You're going to start looking at your do section, recording any notes. So on my staff education teamwork, what happened? Did they come? Did they understand it? Were they supportive? Did they not like the form right away? Did they like the form? The more you engage your team, and asking them what form, bring in 3 forms. Which one do you guys like the best? How is this process going? What do we need to tweak? The more you engage them, the more supportive they're going to be, the better off you're going to move that needle towards evidence-based practice. So this is any intentional and unintentional adjustments, anything that you did that you found, you're just going to make a brief note here. You are also, when you upload your PDSA forms, you're going to upload a run chart for every process, every measure. Okay, so every measure is going to have, we're going to see that, but this is going to help describe it. Okay, then we come down to study. Now this is after your 10 days. You started on the Monday, you've followed the following Friday, 2 Fridays later, you finished. You bring your predictions right down from the top, you bring them right down, and you say, what did I learn? I predicted that 80% will come, only 30% came. I'm going to have to do some individual teaching. Remember, this is very important. You don't wait till the very end. So if you found out on the first Wednesday of your PDSA cycle that 3 people came, you're not going to wait till the end of that PDSA cycle to figure out that I've got to get to those other 7 people. You're going to be going through that. So your prediction would be that only 3 out of the 10 came. Your learning was I had to chase down the other 3, but by the following Wednesday, we got everybody. Now in future, I'm going to do meetings both online and in person on Wednesdays so that we can catch everybody. Those are your kind of thoughtful predictions, not just all sunny and cheery, but your thoughtful predictions so you can anticipate and work that out. Then you come down to your summary. This should be a 1 to 2 paragraph, very succinct. This is what my run charts are showing me. I'm seeing trends. I'm seeing it fell off here because of someone was out sick, or I was out sick, or the MA who was supposed to hand these in wasn't there. This is a summary of looking at your run charts each 2 weeks. Well, actually each couple days, but at least every 2 weeks, at each cycle, looking at those run charts and saying, what is working? Am I moving the needle towards evidence-based practice? If not, why? Some things you may say, oh, in my staff education teamwork, man, everybody's on board, we're doing great, but in my patient experience of care, I'm not getting these forms back, or I'm not able to engage the patients. I'm only getting 30%, so I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. So it's a really succinct evaluation of what's gone on for the 2 weeks before that. Then you're going to, of course, plan next term, next cycle, which is 2A, 2B, 2C. So if we look down on this form over here, here is the second week, PDSA number 2, and you're still going to have something in the staff education and teamwork that you're going to tweak, something in patient experience of care that you're going to tweak, process changes, etc. You may now have some new things that you've added in this other column. You may have some data-driven changes. For example, we had a student who was going to, in a pediatric population, she wanted to, and her staff was all on board with getting the asthma control test for every patient every time. Well, she thought that she had her whole plan of how this was going to happen. She was going to spend weeks getting this done, getting everybody to do it. By her second PDSA cycle, she had 100%. Everybody was doing the ACT tests on every patient. So she had to now morph and change because we're never done. Health improvement is never done. And she added, okay, for my adolescent asthmatic patients, it's flu season. Are they getting their flu shots? And so she did a whole separate, that her process, her data-driven changes led her to basically a whole nother project of making sure that the flu shots were being given. So you finish up cycle 1 and you start planning for cycle 2. And you're going to do the same for cycle 3 and cycle 4. We have made this form over here on the left so that you can have an easy, succinct tracking of each of all of your PDSA cycles, and you're going to see, did I hit each area each time, each ramp, the teamwork, the patient experience, the process changes, did they each get a tweak every week until I got towards my goal? And if you look up here, what we've started to do is put 1A, 1B, 1C down here. You will change that each time to be 2 and then 3 and then 4 for each cycle. So I hope that helps. I hope that you are, that is helpful in filling this out, and let us know. Have a great day.